in the bustling heart of 16th century Baghdad, where golden domes pierced the sky and the scent of spices filled the air, a legend was born, not in a palace, but in the poorest quarters of the city. This is the story of Karim, a man whose name would become a whisper of hope for the downtrodden and a tremor of fear for the corrupt. Born into a world that offered him nothing but hardship, Karim saw injustice at every corner. He watched as greedy merchants and power-hungry officials grew fat on the labor of the poor, hoarding wealth while families starved. But where others saw despair, Karim saw a target. He refused to let his destiny be written by the circumstances of his birth. With a sharp mind, unparalleled agility, and a heart burning for justice, he became the shadow that haunted the city's elite. They called him a bandit, a thief, but to the people, he was a hero. Karim didn't steal for himself. Every purse he lifted from a corrupt tax collector, every jewel he liberated from a stingy nobleman, found its way back to the community. Sacks of grain would mysteriously appear on the doorsteps of the hungry. Coins would turn up in the pockets of families struggling to pay their debts. Karim's legend grew with every daring act. He was the ghost of the rooftops, a phantom in the crowded souk, always one step ahead of the city guard. His methods were as brilliant as they were bold. He'd study the habits of his targets for weeks, learning their routines, their secrets, and their weaknesses. He could scale sheer walls as if they were ladders and move through guarded mansions without making a sound. He wasn't just a thief. He was an artist of liberation. For the people of Baghdad, his exploits were more than just tales of adventure. They were a symbol that someone was fighting for them, that the powerful were not invincible. Hope, a currency more precious than gold, began to spread through the city's narrow alleyways. Naturally, this didn't sit well with the city's powerful. The governor, the chief of the guard, the wealthiest merchants, they were all furious. They saw Karim not as a champion of the people, but as a threat to their entire system of control. The bounty on his head grew larger and larger, until it was a fortune fit for a king. Traps were set, ambushes were planned, and spies were sent into the poor districts to sniff out any information. But the people protected their hero. They gave false leads, created diversions, and offered him shelter. Karim was one of them, and they would not betray him. The stories of this noble outlaw eventually traveled beyond the city walls, carried by merchants and travelers along the Silk Road. They echoed through the grand halls of the Caliph's palace itself. The Caliph, a wise and just ruler, was intrigued. He had heard the official reports painting Karim as a dangerous criminal. But he also heard the whispers from the common folk that told a very different story. A story of a man who fought for the very justice the Caliph himself sought to uphold. Instead of ordering his capture, the Caliph did something unprecedented. He issued a royal decree, not for Karim's arrest, but offering him a meeting. He promised Karim safe passage and amnesty, a full pardon for his crimes, if he would come to the palace. It was a massive gamble. The Caliph's advisors were shocked, certain it was a trap or that Karim would never show. Karim was wary. He had spent his life evading the authorities, not walking willingly into their grasp. But the Caliph's reputation for fairness was known throughout the land. Perhaps this was a chance to do more, to create lasting change that went beyond redistributing stolen goods. He decided to take the risk. Disguised, he slipped into the palace and revealed himself before the Caliph. The two men, one born to rule and the other born to defy, sat and talked for hours. The Caliph saw in Karim not a criminal, but a man with a deep understanding of the people's suffering and a fierce, unyielding passion for justice. Karim, in turn, saw a ruler who genuinely cared for his kingdom, but was insulated from the harsh realities of his subjects' lives. The Caliph made an offer that would change Karim's life forever. He didn't just offer a pardon. He offered a position. He asked Karim to join his court, to become his eyes and ears among the people, and to help him root out the corruption that festered within his own government. "You have fought the symptoms of the disease," the Caliph said. "Help me find the cure." Karim accepted. The bandit of Baghdad hung up his mask and put on the robes of a court official. His transformation was stunning. The very officials who had once hunted him now had to answer to him. It was a difficult transition. Many at court viewed him with suspicion and contempt. They whispered behind his back, calling him an upstart, a street rat, unfit for the palace. They saw his appointment as an insult to their noble bloodlines. These courtiers, many of whom were the very architects of the kingdom's corruption, saw Karim as a direct threat to their illicit wealth and power. They began to conspire against him, weaving a web of lies and deceit to discredit him in the eyes of the Caliph. They framed him for mistakes, sabotaged his work, and tried to paint him as a traitor who was using his new position to enrich himself. But they had gravely underestimated Karim. He had spent years navigating the treacherous world of the streets, and the palace's political games were no different. He used the same skills that made him a legendary outlaw: his keen observation, his ability to read people, and his network of informants among the common folk. He saw the conspiracy forming around him and knew he had to act decisively, not just to save himself, but to fulfill his promise to the Caliph. Karim began a quiet, meticulous investigation of his own. He worked in the shadows once more, gathering evidence, connecting dots, and uncovering a vast network of corruption that stretched from the capital to the farthest provinces. It was bigger and more insidious than he had ever imagined as a bandit. Officials were skimming taxes, judges were selling verdicts, and governors were plotting to weaken the Caliph's authority for their own gain. The moment of truth came during a grand assembly in the Caliph's court. The conspirators, feeling confident, presented their evidence of Karim's supposed treason. But just as the Caliph's face began to cloud with doubt, Karim stepped forward with unwavering calm. He presented his own findings. He laid out irrefutable proof ledgers, letters, and witness testimonies that exposed the entire conspiracy. He named the traitors one by one, from high-ranking ministers to trusted advisors who stood right there in the hall. The courtroom fell into a stunned silence. The conspirators were exposed, their treachery laid bare for all to see. The Caliph's trust in Karim was solidified beyond any doubt. He saw a man of incredible courage and unwavering loyalty, a leader who had risked everything for the sake of the kingdom. In the aftermath, the traitors were brought to justice, and a massive reform swept through the government. The Caliph, seeing Karim's unique blend of street wisdom and statesmanship, knew there was only one position fit for such a man. He dismissed his old Grand Vizier and appointed Karim to the highest office in the land. The boy from the slums, the outlaw of the rooftops, was now the Grand Vizier of Baghdad. His journey was complete. but his work was just beginning. As Grand Vizier Karim enacted policies that protected the poor, ensured fair trade, and held every official accountable. He never forgot where he came from, and he ruled with the same passion for justice that had first driven him to a life of crime. Karim's story became more than just a legend. It became a timeless epic, a testament to the idea that true nobility isn't about birthright, but about character. It's a story of redemption, proving that anyone can change their path and fight for a better world. From a defiant bandit to a revered statesman, Karim's life became a powerful symbol of justice, courage, and true leadership, inspiring generations to believe that one person can indeed make a world of difference. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story of justice and redemption, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of legendary figures from history. Let us know in the comments what other stories you'd like to see. See you next time.